Okay, so our progress report says we are at stage 9, paragraph page 715. Okay, and our last headword was path, keyword type of lesson.
Yep, that's
Okay,
right.
so let's start with revision. Ready?
Sure.
Here we go. First question. Do you think it's fair to judge people on first impressions? Do you think it's fair to judge people on first impressions? Yes or no?
No, I don't think
It's fair to
it
judge
fair
people
to judge people
on first
on
impressions.
first impression.
Where if you held a dinner party and served food that had been cooked in a microwave, would it make a good impression on your guest? If you held a dinner party and served food that had been cooked in a microwave, would it make a good impression on your guest? No. If I
No,
held a
if I
dinner
held
party
dinner
and
party
served food
and some
that had
food
been cooked in a
that,
microwave,
that that has been cooked in the microwave,
it wouldn't make a good
couldn't
impression
make a
on
good
my guest.
impression on my guest.
Very good. What does a dog do with a bone? What does a dog do with a bone? A dog
A
buries a
dog
bone in the
buries a
ground.
bone in the ground.
Very good. What is a cemetery? What is a cemetery? A cemetery
A
is a
cemetery
place
is a
where
place
people are
where
buried
people are
when they
buried
die.
when they died.
Very good. What angers you more than anything else? What angers you more than anything else?
The extreme heat in the summer season
Angers
angers
me
me
more
the
than
most,
anything else.
more than anything else.
Very good. Does it anger you when an airline makes an additional charge for luggage? Does it anger you when an airline makes an additional charge for luggage? Yes or no?
No, it
It
doesn't anger me
when an airline
when an
makes
airline
an additional
makes an
charge
additional
for
charge
luggage.
for luggage.
Very good. What do you think is the best way to insult a person? What do you think is the best way to insult a person? I think the
I
best
think
way
the
to
best
insult
way
a
to
person
insult a
is
person
to
is to say bad things
him. Very
to
good.
him.
Okay. If a foreign person said something negative to you about your country, would you consider it an insult? If a foreign person said something negative to you about your country, would you consider it an insult? Yes or no?
Yes,
If a foreign
if a
person
foreign
said
person
something
says
negative
something
to
negative
me
to
about
me
my country,
about my
I'd
country,
consider it
I
an insult.
consider it an insult.
Very good. Okay, next. What does the idiom for heaven's sake mean? What does the idiom for heaven's sake mean? The idiom for
The
heaven's
idiom,
sake
for
means
heaven's sake,
a
means
very strong form
a
of
very
please.
strong form of please.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. For heaven's sake,
For heaven's
don't
sake,
do that again,
don't do that
or I'll
again,
be very
or
angry.
I'll be very angry.
Very good. Okay, in English, if a verb is followed immediately by another verb, what form must the second verb be? In English, if a verb is followed immediately by another verb, what form must the second verb be? In English,
In
if a
English,
verb is
if a
followed
verb is
immediately
followed
by another
immediately
verb,
by another
the
verb,
second verb
a second
must be
verb
either an
must be
infinitive
either an
or a
infinitive
gerund.
or gerund.
Very good. Tell me some verbs that are followed by an infinitive. Tell me some verbs that are followed by an infinitive, please. Some verbs
Some
that
verbs
are followed
that are
by an
followed
infinitive
by
are
an infinitive are
ask, agree,
ask, agree,
refuse, and manage.
refuse, and manage.
Very good. Tell me some verbs that are followed by a gerund. Tell me some verbs that are followed by a gerund, please. Some verbs
Some
that are
verbs
followed
that are
by a
followed
gerund
by
are
gerund are
deny, avoid,
deny,
practice,
avoid,
and
practice, and dismiss,
miss.
miss.
Very good. Is the verb promise followed by an infinitive or a gerund? Is the verb promise followed by an infinitive or a gerund? The verb
The
promise
verb
is
promise
followed
is
by an
followed
infinitive.
by an infinitive.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. He promised to
He
try
promised
harder
to
next
try
time.
harder next time.
Is the verb consider followed by the infinitive or a gerund? Is the verb consider followed by an infinitive or a gerund? The verb
The
consider
verb
is
consider
followed by
is
a
followed
gerund.
by a gerund.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. You should consider
You should consider
buying a new car.
buying a new car.
Very good. Why do you suppose some people, especially children, are afraid of the dark? Why do you suppose some people, especially children, are afraid of the dark? I suppose
I
some people,
suppose,
especially children, I
especially
suppose
children.
some people,
I
I
couldn't hear that.
suppose, can you hear me?
Ah, yes, now I can
Okay.
hear you.
I suppose some
I,
people,
s- I suppose some people,
especially children,
especially
are
children,
afraid of the
are
dark
afraid of the dark
because they imagine
because
things
they imagine
that
things
are not there.
that are not there.
Where again, why are some people more afraid of that they might get killed if they travel by plane than by other means of transport? Why are some people more afraid that they might get killed if they travel by plane than by other means of transport? Some people
Some
are more
people
afraid
are more
that
afraid
they might get
that
killed
they might get
if they
killed
travel by
if they
plane
travel by
than
plane
by other
than
means
by
of
other means
transport
of transport
because a plane crash
because a plane
is front
crash
page news.
is front page news.
Greg, give me an example of the word afraid used as an apology. Give me an example of the word afraid used in an apology, please. I'm afraid.
I'm
I can't
afraid
help you.
I can't help you.
Very good. For what purpose does a cat use its whiskers? For what purpose does a cat use its whiskers? Cat uses its
Cat uses
whiskers
its
to
whiskers
measure the
to
width of
measure
a
the
gap
width
in a
of a
fence
gap in the
or a
pants
hedge
where a
to
hedge
see if
to
it is
see if
possible
it is
to get
possible
through the gap
to get to the
without
gap
using force
without using
and making
force
a lot of noise.
and making a lot of noise.
Very good. Do you think it's a good idea for students to have a gap year between finishing school and starting university? Do you think it's a good idea for students to have a gap year between finishing school and starting university? Yes or no?
No, I don't
I
think it's a good idea
For students
for
to have a
students
gap
to
year
have a gap
between
year
finishing
between
school
finishing
and
school
starting
and
university.
starting university
Why? Why do you think so? Because
because they might forget everything they learn at school and also they might be lazy.
that's correct. Okay, do we have to mind the gap between the trains and the edge of the platform at some stations? Do we have to mind the gap between the train and the edge of the platform at some stations? Yes, we have to
Yes,
mind the
we
gap
have to mind the
between
gap
the train
between the
and the
train
edge of the
and the
platform
edge of the
at some
platform
station.
at some stations.
Very good. What's a hall? What's a hall? A hall is a
A
large
hall
room.
is a large room.
Give me some examples of different types of hall. Give me some examples of different types of hall, please. Entrance hall,
Entrance
town
hall,
hall,
town
etc.
hall, etc.
What's a town hall? What's a town hall? A town hall is
A
a
town
large
hall
building
is a
that
large
is used
building
for
that is
local
used for
government
local
and
government
public meetings.
and public meetings.
Very good. What is a pool? What is a pool? A pool
A
is a
pool
small amount
is a
of
small
liquid
amount
that
of
has
liquid
collected
that
in one
has
place.
collected in one
Give
place.
me some examples. Give me some examples, please. A pool of water,
A pool of
a
water,
pool of blood,
a
etc.
pool of blood, etc.
What are the advantages of an indoor swimming pool? What are the advantages of an indoor swimming pool? The
The
advantages of an
advantages
indoor
of an
swimming pool
indoor swimming
are
pool
that the
are
water
that
can
the
be heated
water can
more
be
easily
heated or easily,
and one can swim in
or
it
one can swim in
in
it
any kind of weather.
in any kind of weather.
Greg, which do you prefer, an indoor or an outdoor swimming pool? Which do you prefer, an indoor or an outdoor swimming pool? I prefer an
I prefer an indoor swimming
swimming pool.
pool.
Very good. Do you spend most of your time indoors or outdoors? Do you spend most of your time indoors or outdoors? I spend
I
most of my
spend most
time
of my time indoors.
very good. What do we call this joint of the knee? What do we call this joint of the knee? We call that
We
joint
call
of the
that
knee.
joint of the knee,
I'm sorry. We
joint of the
call that
leg.
joint of the leg a knee.
Joint of the leg is a knee.
Very good. On what occasions do people kneel? On what occasions do people kneel? The occasions
The
on which
occasions
people
on
kneel
which people
are
kneel
when they
are
say their
when they
prayers,
say their
etc.
prayers, etc.
Very good. Who was the leader of the late government in your country? Who was the leader of the late government in your country? The leader of the
The
late
leader
government
of the
in
late
my
government
country
in my
was
country was Yoshihide Suga.
very good. What do we mean when we speak about the late Mr. Johnson? What do we mean when we speak about the late Mr. Johnson? When we speak about
When we speak
the late
about
Mr. Johnson,
the late Mr.
we mean
Johnson,
the
we
Mr.
mean
Johnson
Mr.
who has
Johnson
recently
who
died.
has recently died.
Very good. Have you seen any good films at the cinema lately? Have you seen any good films at the cinema lately? Yes or no?
No, I
I
haven't
haven't seen
seen
any good films at
any
the
good
cinema
films at
lately.
the cinema lately.
Very good. Do many women like to match their handbags with their shoes? Do many women like to match their handbags with their shoes? Yes. Many women
Yes, many
like
women
to match
like
their
to match
handbags
their
with their
handbags and
shoes.
with their shoes.
Very good. Do you think a small man who was good at judo would be a match for a big man who knew how to box? Do you think a small man who was good at judo would be a match for a big man who knew how to box? Yes or no?
Yes, I
I think
think
a small
a
man
small
who
man
was good at
who was
judo
good at
would be
judo
a match
would be
for
a
a big
match,
man
would be a big man
who knew how to
who
box.
knew how to box.
Where our football matches usually held at the weekend or during the week. Our football matches usually held at the weekend or during the week. Football matches
Football
are
matches
usually
are
held
usually held
at the weekend.
at the weekend.
Where what color clothes do European people usually wear for a funeral? What color clothes do European people usually wear for a funeral? European people
European
usually
people
wear
usually
black
wear
for
black
a funeral.
for a funeral.
Greg, do you like reading mystery stories? Do you like reading mystery stories? Yes or no?
Yes, I
I
like reading
mystery
mystery
stories. Very good.
stories.
Why do we have a path in a garden? Why do we have a path in the garden? We have a path in
We
a
have a
garden
path in the
so that
garden
people
so that
don't walk on
people
the
don't
grass
walk on the
or on the
grass
flowers.
or on the flowers.
Very good. Then that's the end of our revision. Let's have numeric.
Oh,
Very good. Okay, so let's start. Okay, read first word. Insure.
insure,
Insurance.
insurance,
Theft.
theft,
Very good. Okay, listen. Insurance is a noun. It is an agreement in which you pay a company money and the company pays the cost if you have an accident, injury, or loss. For example, if I pay monthly insurance for my house, in case it is destroyed from fire, storm, etc., I could get some money from the insurance company. We could pay insurance for things such as cars, houses, health, accidents, etc. Insure is a verb. It means to buy insurance to protect yourself, your family, your business, etc. against something bad happening, such as accidents, damage to property, and so on. For example, I have insurance for my car against accidents. Or we can say, I insured my car against accidents. Theft is a noun. It is the crime of stealing. Let's practice. Is it the law in your country that everyone has to insure their car against accidents? Is it the law in your country that everyone has to insure their car against accidents? Yes or no?
yes.
It's the law in my
It's the law
country
in my
that
country
everyone
that
has to
everyone
insure
has
their
to
car
insure the
against
car
accidents.
against accidents.
Greg, do you have any insurance against loss or theft for your personal possessions? Do you have any insurance against loss or theft for your personal possessions? Yes or no?
Yes, I
I have
have
some insurance
some
against
insurance
loss or theft
against loss of
for
cat
my personal
for my
possessions.
personal possessions.
Very good. Okay. Next, repeat. Throne.
Loan.
Very good. Okay, listen. Throne is a noun. It is a special chair a king or queen sits on. Let's practice. What do we call the chair a king or queen sits on? What do we call the chair a king or queen sits on? We call the chair
We call
a
the
king
chair
or
a
queen
king or
sits on
queen
a
sits
throne.
on a throne.
Very good. Next, repeat. Annoy.
Annoy,
Lie.
fly,
Fall asleep.
fall asleep.
Very good. Okay, listen. Annoy. The word annoy is a verb. It means to make someone feel angry and unhappy about something. For example, it annoys me when I'm watching a film at the cinema and someone in the audience keeps talking. Fly is a noun. It is a small insect with two wings. Fall asleep means to begin sleeping. For example, it annoys me if a fly was flying around my head while I was trying to fall asleep. Let's practice. Does it annoy you when you're watching a film at the cinema and someone in the audience keeps talking? Does it annoy you when you're watching a film in the cinema and someone in the audience keep talking? Yes or no?
Yes, it's
It annoys.
annoying.
It annoys me
It annoys
when
me
I'm watching a
when I'm
film at the
watching a
cinema
film at the
and
cinema
someone in the
and
audience
someone in the
keeps talking.
audience keeps talking.
Where if a fly was flying around your head while you were trying to fall asleep, would you get annoyed or would you be able to ignore it? If a fly was flying around your head while you were trying to fall asleep, would you get annoyed or would you be able to ignore it? If a fly was
If a
flying
fly
around my head
was flying around my head
while I was trying
while I was
to fall
trying
asleep,
to fall asleep,
I'd
I'd get annoyed.
very good. Next, repeat sore.
Sore.
Very good. Okay, listen. Sore is an adjective. If a part of your body is sore, it causes you pain and discomfort. For example, if I rub my finger on the edge of the table like this for a long time, I get a sore finger. The best thing to do for a sore throat is to gargle warm water with salt. Let's practice. What do you think is the best thing to do for a sore throat? What do you think is the best thing to do for a sore throat? I think the
I
best thing
think
to
the
do
best thing to
for a
do
sore throat
for a sore
is
throat
to gargle
is
warm
to
water
gargle warm
with
water
salt.
with salt.
If you rub your finger on the edge of the table like this for a long time, what did happen? If you rub your finger on the edge of the table like this for a long time, what did happen? If I rub my
If I
finger
rub my
on the
finger
edge of the
on the
table
edge of the
like that
table
for a
like
long
that
time,
for a long
I'd
time,
get a sore
I'd get
finger.
a sore finger.
Very good. Next, repeat design.
Design.
Very good. Okay, listen. Design is a verb. If something is designed for a particular purpose, it is intended for that purpose only. For example, the name of a company that is famous for making beautifully designed products is Toyota. Now, let's practice. Tell me the name of a company that's famous for making beautifully designed products. Tell me the name of a company that's famous for making beautifully designed products. The name of a company
The name of a
that's
company
famous for
that's
making
famous for
beautifully
making
designed products
beautifully designed
is
product is yeah, Toyota car.
Toyota. That's correct. Well, almost everything. Subaru is also. I like Subaru though. Okay.
That's right.
Next, let's have idiom 30. Okay, repeat. Keep your fingers crossed.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Very good. Okay, listen. Keep your fingers crossed is an idiom that means wish for good luck. For example, good luck with the exam. I'll keep my finger crossed for you. Yeah, let's practice. What does the idiom keep your fingers crossed mean? What does the idiom keep your fingers crossed mean? The idiom
The
keep your
idiom
fingers
keep your
crossed
fingers
means
crossed means
wish for good luck.
wish for good luck.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. It's quite a cloudy day.
If
It's quite
it's
a cloudy
quite
day
a cloudy
for
day
a picnic.
for a picnic,
So we'll just have
so
to
you just
keep our
have
fingers
to
crossed.
keep our fingers
It
crossed.
doesn't rain.
It doesn't rain.
Regid, is it the custom in your country for people to cross their fingers when they wish for something? If not, what do they do instead? Is it the custom in your country for people to cross their fingers when they wish for something? If not, what do they do instead? Yes or no?
No,
It isn't the
it
custom
isn't the
in my
custom
country
in
for
my
people to
country for
cross their
people
fingers
to cross their
when they
fingers
wish for something.
when they whisper something.
Instead, they
Instead, they
like put their hands together.
put their hands
Yeah,
together.
just like here. Very good. Okay, now let's talk about compound adjectives.
Compound adjectives.
Very good. Okay, repeat compound.
Compound.
Very good. Okay, listen. Okay, sometimes words can be put together to make compound adjectives. For example, a child that behaves well can be called a well behaved child. The phrase well behaved is a compound adjective, so it tells something about the child, a well behaved child. One common way of making compound adjective is by putting an adverb or adjective together with a participle. For example, a wedding that has been planned badly could be called a badly planned wedding. Okay, let's practice. Give me an example of a compound adjective made by putting an adverb or adjective together with a participle. Give me some examples of a compound adjective made by putting an adverb or adjective together with a participle, please. A beautifully designed jacket.
A beautifully designed
A
jacket.
slow moving train
A slow moving
are
train.
examples of a
Example
compound
of a
adjectives
of a compound
made
adjectives
by putting an
made by
adverb
putting
or
an
adjective
adverb or
together
adjective
with a
together
participle.
with a participle.
Wait, which do you think is more important for a long-lasting marriage, love or respect? Which do you think is more important for a long-lasting marriage, love or respect? I think
I think love or respect.
love or respect. Which one?
Hmm?
Choose one. Love or respect is important for a long-lasting
Love
marriage.
or respect.
Uh-huh.
Ah, okay, I got
I
it.
think
I think respect
is more important than
is more
love
important
for
than
a
love
long-lasting marriage.
for a long-lasting marriage.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to our reading.
Cool.
Very good. Okay, so our reading is at stage 8, paragraph page 693. Last headword was actually. Please start at page 694. Check. Change.
Check. Check. Change. If you gave a shopkeeper £10 for something that cost £5 and he gave you only £4 change, what would you do? If I gave a shopkeeper £10 for something that cost £5, and he gave me only four change, I'd ask him to give me back £1.
Good.
When you pay for something in a shop, you always check to see that they have given you the right change. Yes. When I pay for something in a shop, I always check to see that they have given me the right change. Why? Because a shopkeeper sometimes
Makes mistake.
makes mistakes and give me wrong changes.
That's correct.
Log, fireplace. Which would you prefer to sit in front of on a cold winter's day? A real log fire burning in the fireplace or a modern gas fire? On a cold winter's day, I'd prefer to sit in front of a modern gas fire. Mm,
Very good.
Common sense. What is common sense? Common sense is practical good sense which is not gained from any special studies. Which is more important in everyday life, intelligence or common sense? Common sense is more important in everyday life. Why? Because common sense is quite essential to live together with other persons, other
Very,
people.
other people. Very good.
Tool. Which tool would you need if you wanted to hit a nail into a piece of wood? I need a hammer if I wanted to hit a nail into a piece of wood. Bean. A bean is good for the health. Yes, beans are good for the health. What do we mean when we say that someone's full of beans? When we say that someone's full of beans, we mean they are full of life and energy. What does the idiom cut corners mean? The idiom cut corners means do something quickly and not as well as you could. Give me an example, please. There wasn't enough money to complete the job properly, so we had to cut corners.
Very good. Okay, that's the end of stage 8. We now start at stage 9. Reading. Stage 9. Okay, stage 9, page
Stage
697.
697. I think, but
So shall,
time
but
is
we
up
don't
now.
have no more time. So next time we